journos. Slightly different camera setup today because Dafty here forgot to bring the tripod.
It's not like you, Lee.
No, and these two haven't let us forget that as well. So we'll maybe look a little bit distant. We look like we've got a desk in front over here, but it's sort of the glass covers of the desks themselves at St James's Park as it all kicks into life among the groundsmen sorting St James's Park, because as ever we're always the last ones at St James's Park, but we're always keen to give you guys the inside scoop, the insight, everything from our thoughts to injury news and everything else that's come from the game we've just witnessed, which was a return, a stopping of the rot, push in the right direction after what in many ways has been a very challenging week for Newcastle United. That grim in many ways defeat at Everton, the even grimmer defeat at Tottenham for many different reasons, and then of course the chastening reality of being dumped out of the Champions League, having had everything in their own hands with around half an hour of that incredible group of death set of fixtures. It was all there for them to take and they lost it going for broke. But today Fulham were the visitors, very an informed Fulham, one that nearly won at Liverpool very recently, one that is scoring goals for fun. Martin Dubravka, clean sheet after some criticism. A 3-0 win, of course against 10 men, which had an undoubted impact on the match itself, but goals from returning Dan Burn,
Miguel Almiron.
Miguel Almiron again, one for a bit of online criticism because of recent performances, although let's be honest, this one was handed on a silver platter to him. I think he would have struggled to miss. It's a good job it didn't come from the other side. And he was actually able to sweep it in with his left foot rather than waiting for it to come across him like he did at that end there against AC Milan. And of course, the topic of conversation for this video, in my opinion, Lewis, how we're saying it, I'm still not
Eddie
even
Howe
sure.
says Louis, it's spelt Lewis though.
Shall we stick with...
There's a spider on Jordan's bag. Watch out, Liam.
Jordan, are you carrying spiders with you? This is weird. He had a spider on him at Tottenham as well.
Oh yeah, I know, I'm a spider.
Are you going to start firing webs from your hands and stuff like that soon? That really
There's
is
always
good.
stuff crawling about.
There is, like,
If that comes any closer, you're going to leave this video.
You're a creepy bugger, you, Jordan.
Fancy saying that on YouTube, man. Hey.
Right,
back on
Lewis Miley, never mind the spider. Dom, tell us about what it was an incredible performance. Another record broken for the youngster.
Yes, I mean, what a month it's been for Lewis Miley. A month ago became Newcastle's youngest ever Premier League starter at Bournemouth, youngest ever European player, youngest ever Premier League player to grab an assist in the Champions League, some crazy stats, and now Newcastle's youngest ever Premier League goal scorer, and it's something that was probably coming. He's getting into really good areas, just as the tractor goes behind us. Hopefully you can still hear me, but yeah, he was actually rested for today's game. Eddie Howe said it's not a reflection on Miley's performances. He's been incredible in Eddie Howe's words, and I think we'd all agree. For a 17-year-old, the way he's strode into the side with such confidence and a swagger almost, and being so tidy on the ball, in and out of possession, playing with maturity beyond his years. And he comes on unfortunate circumstances with Joelinton being injured, and just takes the game in his stride against 10 men. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit easier. You're going to have a little bit more space and find gaps where there probably might not have been against 11 men. But I thought, particularly Louis Miley and Bruno in the second half almost grabbed the game by the scruff of its neck and combined for that goal, which was thoroughly deserved for Louis Miley. Eddie Howe spoke about how he's been like...
You're watching me watch this spider as it almost crawls into view here.
So yeah, as I was saying, Louis Miley has been...
I'm sorry, Tom.
Should I deal with this spider?
Don't deal with it near me.
Louis Miley got a great assist against Chelsea, great position, unselfishly found Alexander Isak. Did the same for Joelinton against AC Milan on Wednesday night. But Eddie Howe said it was his moment today and he took it. And it was great to see in front of the Gallagher, Newcastle's youngest ever Premier League scorer. And from there, he could have scored again. He got in some good areas, crossing the ball in down that right hand side. What we've seen Sean Longstaff do, playing in a similar position this season, and I thought Newcastle's midfield probably won them the game this afternoon. Difficult first half with the injuries, but that Raul Jimenez sending off challenge on Sean Longstaff, bizarre challenge. I'm sure we'll touch on that in a bit. But yeah, Lewis Miley, star of the show, alongside Bruno, of course, who continues to impress in black and white.
Miley, yeah, I think you really summed that up there, Dom. But you talk about a swagger about him. He's got a real quality about him, a real poise, composure. Seems to have a real level head on his shoulders. Just seems to take to the game with a breeze. Really, it's quite smooth and comfortable, and it's just a joy to watch when you think he's only 17. It's quite incredible, and there looks to be a very high ceiling, you would imagine, on that kind of player. And could we really be seeing the emergence of a almost Jude Bellingham light type player at Newcastle United? No, I mean, Geordie Jude. I mean, he was a phenomenon, and continues to be a phenomenon. But Miley, at the age that he is, I've not seen a young player sweep into a team and look so at home at such a high level. Because let's not beat around the bush here. Newcastle United are operating at a level that they haven't operated at for a long, long time. The level of opposition that they're playing week in, week out is right up there. This can only be good for a development of a player like that. Learn alongside, we mentioned before, Bruno Guimaraes, and I'm sure we'll come on to that. Anybody who's a regular watcher of our YouTube channel will know how much I love Bruno Guimaraes, but also how much I love Sean Longstaff. And if there's little parts of the game that you can take from those two playing alongside him, it'll be, the attitude that Sean Longstaff has, the never say die, the physicality, the run all day. I mean, Sean Longstaff was pressing in the 95th minute when no one else was. He's just an incredible athlete. And as you mentioned statistically, outside of this video, they don't often lose when Sean Longstaff starts games.
Yes.
What was the statistic? You know that?
He's only lost 3 of his last 32 starts for Newcastle, which is a solid start. He shows when Sean Longstaff's in the team, Newcastle tend to play well, and I think he is probably a player Newcastle miss slightly when he hasn't played. So yeah, Sean Longstaff back involved today as well in the starting lineup, along with Dan Burn, and then Lewis Miley coming on. So yeah, it was a good all-around day for Newcastle, just blighted slightly by the injuries.
So if you can take little bits of what I was saying with Longstaff and bits of Bruno, if you can learn little bits from them, Jordan, I think the sky feels like the limit for somebody like Miley. I'm reluctant to really go too big on it, even though I talk about the Bellingham thing. I'm not comparing him to Jude Bellingham, but there aren't many English talents of that sort of age and that sort of position who are commanding the kind of quality performances and rave reviews that Lewis Miley is at the moment.
I think a lot of it's down to his age, because not many people out there know, but he is 17 years of age. Has been mentioned before. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I just think it's incredible to see a player so young be so brilliant. I mean, in many ways he's a bit of a phenomenon for this club, because look how many 17-year-olds of this football club seen like him. Have they seen any? Is there any 17-year-olds like him?
Youngest Premier League player. So.
That was a statistic, wasn't it? Like, it surprised me, and it may surprise some people out there. The record that he broke for Newcastle United's youngest Premier League scorer. I think most people are like turn their heads and think, oh, was it Steve Watson or was it somebody of that sort of 90s generation? But it was actually James Milner.
Who they bought?
Yeah, who they bought from Leeds under Sir Bobby Robson. Who I don't know if I've ever discussed this on here. My opinions on that player for Newcastle United, I certainly have much higher hopes in a black and white shirt for Lewis Miley than James Milner ever got to, because flattered to deceive in black and white, but had a fantastic career elsewhere. You can't doubt that. Sorry, Jordan.
No, I honestly, I haven't got much to add on Miley. You guys have summed up really well. Just to see a player so young be, as I say, so brilliant is a remarkable thing to see. I don't think there's many words you can say about him, and I think he hasn't just played against weak opposition. Every game he's played has been against high class. Okay, probably Fulham is the team that you look at in that list and probably say, well, maybe they're the least reputable in terms of the clubs that I've played. Obviously, you know, like links like your Arsenal's, PSG's, Man United, Chelsea. They're top Premier League teams. Although, okay, like say Man United and Chelsea's are struggling, if you like, at the moment. Say struggling, Man United are worse, still above Newcastle United in the table. So he's came in against these games. I think that's what I find most remarkable, is the calibre of opposition that he's impressed against. And I think, you know, to make comparisons to Jude Bellingham, you know, you're probably not too far off, to be honest, because there isn't many English 17-year-olds that have broke through like him. I'm thinking probably you go back through the years, maybe like a Wayne Rooney, maybe a Theo Walcott when he got a move to Arsenal. These just names that are off the top of my head. I can't think of many more that have left such an impression on a team and a football club in such a short amount of time. And I think the important thing for Miley, and Eddie Howe addresses every single time, is he's very level-headed, and he's actually got the ability and the mental mindset to actually deal with anything that comes his way, because he's going to be in the media, he's going to be spoke about for days until probably that Chelsea game of how brilliant he is. I think for a lot of young players, it's quite easy to go to their head. I don't think it will with him. I think he'll remain level-headed, and I think he'll continue to get better and better. And yeah, what better to learn from players like your Brunos and even like a Sean Longstaff, which, to be fair, I was really happy to see Sean Longstaff and Lewis Miley in the same midfield, because I think if you look at the two players, I think they're probably quite similar. I think there was probably shades in that second half, and I think you said it, Liam, where Lewis Miley's almost playing the Sean Longstaff role, because that's what we've seen down that right hand side, as the runs into the box, the endless amount of energy, and Miley showed that today. I think the difference between them two players, I think, okay, Miley's only 17, but I think in the glimpses I've seen he's probably got a little bit more quality.
Definitely.
But they've both got,
technically,
but they've both got a hell of an engine on them. And I say, introduction to senior football for Lewis Miley will only benefit him, and he will get stronger. I'm sure that goal today will not be his last in black and white. There'll be many more. Although, like I think you mentioned before the game, right, yeah. Spanish reports.
That's kind of where the Bellingham sort of my comparisons came from, because I did see there was some murmurings. Look, we get a bad press in this country about making stories up, which never happens, by the way. And you know, transfer rumours, we're getting towards that time. Some of the foreign press, yeah, I think they're a bit faster and looser with their links, but reasonably reputable reports in Spain that Miley was on the radar of Real Madrid because of his emergence in the Champions League. And that's kind of where coming full circle, that's kind of where my Bellingham thoughts came from, is that he has a similar set of physical attributes. He's a big lad, he's 6'2", 6'3", I would guess, I don't know exactly. Looks like he can still fill out into that frame a little bit. Eats up the yards, can get around quickly, lots of ball recoveries. He isn't as tough in the tackle as a Sean Longstaff, for example. You never know, that might come, but does have a real quality. One of the little moves that I've picked out that I really like is he quite often squares a defender up, and he'll feint, and he'll go one way and drop the shoulder and chop back, and it's just quite clever. It's a really clever move to make in a high speed game, and it just buys him that extra little moment. I think we see him in the goal against AC Milan. He just does things off the cuff that show real quality in between his ears, which is stuff you can't teach. You've either got a football brain or you haven't. I think everybody who's ever played football will know that you play with some people who haven't got it between the ears when they kick the ball around, and some who have. They might not always have it with their feet, but they've got it between the ears. And what Miley's got is he's got magic in them toes, and he's got magic between his ears as well. He's a real breakthrough of the season. I've seen a lot of these, again, foreign journalists talking online about breakthrough seasons and all these kind of things that you see around, and I think there was a bit of murmuring in the French press with regards, because PSG had an interest about, you know, what's the lad called at PSG? Zaire. There was a lot of talk about Miley being Newcastle United's version of that, and I can't really complain too much. And if he is, I think both those two guys have got an incredible future in the game. I mean, how much we're going to dwell on the game? Obviously, we went over it in the live. I mean, you want to talk about the red card, you said. I mean, I kind of tend to think we should throw these things forward rather than dwell on it. But what
Yeah.
about the red card?
Well, we all saw it at the time. You saw the reaction from the Newcastle players and the fans in the East Stand. Got them on the feet. And yeah, we saw the replay, and Raul Jimenez is just completely out of control. Like you said,
Lost his head, hadn't he? Like he must have got. He was down for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And I don't know who he got a kick off. Was it
Jamal Lascelles?
Crafu? Was it? Oh no.
Crawford was.
He was Crafu today, by the way, Emil Craft. But yeah, he took a knock off Jamal Lascelles, and yeah, Marco Silva wasn't happy about that afterwards, and I think just lost his head really, and he just flies in so recklessly into Sean Longstaff. The referee, inexperienced referee at Premier League level, I think only his seventh or eighth Premier League game, gives a yellow card initially, and then the VAR replays, we saw them and all just went at the time, yeah, that's a red card. And
crackers, wasn't it?
yeah, ultimately saw the game swing in Newcastle's favour. It was maybe a delayed swing, but yeah, Newcastle ended up strolling to a win once that Lewis Miley goal went in the second half, just before that hour mark.
That's the thing for me though, that it posed a totally different set of problems. So I think the injuries almost punctuated that first half, the red card, and made it quite a difficult one for Newcastle to grab a hold of. The little changes they had to make and the patterns of play and things like that. And Eddie Howe seemed to be struggling with it himself when he was switching Almiron across and Gordon across, and of course had to change the back four considerably due to that injury. But the second half they really worked it out. And what they needed one of their big players to stand up and actually start unlocking doors, start making things happen. And I thought Bruno Guimaraes did that at will. Look, you know, it was at home against 10 men Fulham, but it was two banks of four. They really sat in and didn't want to give Newcastle an inch. And Bruno made things happen. That's why he is a top class midfielder, because where others maybe faltered and didn't have the quality to maybe make things happen, Bruno did, and I thought he was relentless today in his prodding and probing of that Fulham defensive set of lines, and got his just reward with two assists, the second of which in my opinion you'll struggle to see a better cross in the Premier League this season. To have the ability to do that kind of thing without even thinking about it is a talent in itself. And he is an absolute joy to behold. I love him, absolutely love him. And if you go through all the videos, I think then we did a video, didn't we?
Time out beach.
Yeah, saying how much I absolutely loved him then.
Yeah.
I think we're graced with real quality. We're in the presence of greatness when Bruno's in this midfield. I've described him before, planted an alien in the middle of that midfield, and it very much feels like that now, because the team at times in the last few weeks has got a feel of the first season under Eddie Howe, some of the personnel and the bench and the players coming on, and it isn't laced with the kind of quality that we have seen in the last 18 months, and they're still going out there and getting the odd result, and they're just going to have to hang in there. They're going to have to hang in there in the Premier League. And then obviously you guys will be doing a video on Monday with regards Chelsea, and I suppose should we talk a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, all the injury situation.
Injuries, so of course, yeah, that kind of fits in.
The only negative from today, the injuries really, isn't it? The first half of, well, not just the first half, before the game of Alexander Isak. Don, that was one of your questions in the press conference.
Yeah, Eddie Howe did sort of play it down. He said doesn't think it's serious. It was more a precautionary thing, but how often do we see these players rested as a precaution? Callum Wilson was taken off with Borussia Dortmund as a precaution and ended up being out for over a month. So yeah, we'll see what happens with Alexander Isak, but Eddie Howe very clear he's just been feeling that groin, Alexander Isak, and yeah, rested today, just couldn't quite make the bench. So hopefully he's back sooner rather than later, but we'll wait and see, as Eddie Howe always doesn't give too much away. But yeah, Alexander Isak set back with his groin.
So I've seen anybody who checks out the live that we did shortly after the final whistle, you'll have seen Alexander Isak peeling off the air behind me, and he seemed alright, in good spirits, wasn't kitted up in any of his tracksuit or anything, so it doesn't sound like he was anywhere close to being involved today. And then also we did see Joelinton, who was asked by members of the national press and of course the Shield Gazette's Joe Buck, who was down there as well.
Shout out.
If he was alright and how's he feeling ahead of Tuesday, and he gave a little thumbs up and said something along the lines of he hopes to be okay. I mean, that might be some wishful thinking from a footballer who's in a positive mindset, but We'll wait and see, and it will be a big boost if it isn't anything too bad. He kind of just pulled up with it straight away and needed to come off. Fabian Schär for me looked a little bit more concerning. You don't run along like that and something goes and you limp off. It just looked a little bit more of an injury, but we'll wait and see, and I'm sure you guys will find out a lot more on Monday in that regard.
Yeah, we'll try.
You'll ask the questions. Whether Eddie says anything is another thing altogether.
It's become a running joke that Eddie Howe knows. He told Jordan the other day, I'm not giving you anything. And then,
But then did.
Yeah, so maybe again.
No, not really. Let's wait and see. We hope so. All
fingers
them,
crossed.
All them. Fingers crossed. We got that one.
Right, I think you've had enough Geordie Journals here. So we did 25 minutes, another 20 odd minutes here.
We never have enough Geordie Journals.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, maybe
Just think on the upload time.
Yeah, we've got to get this up at some point, a reasonable time. We don't want this going at 2 o'clock in the morning, but we'll wait and see. Right, I think they're ready to pack up here at St James's Park. They want us out. They always want us out. They never want to let the Geordie Journals stay. We're always getting kicked out of every stadium, whether we'll go to Germany, France, Italy.
At least Newcastle have the class to let us stay and do a video inside the ground.
They look after we're here. They sort of say as long as you're out the room by 7 o'clock, give them timestamp in this. It's getting on now, 7:30 at night. So you'll all be enjoying your post-match pints, or you'll have all of that takeaway in, and you'll be getting ready for match of the day.
Ooh, I could do with a take.
Yeah, you said you were a hungry boy, like.
I'm just derailed, that's all.
Shout out to Nicole there, who probably have a stew ready for you at home.
Oh,
She looks after you.
Aye.
Number one fan, Geordie Journals.
Yes. Hey, got these pin
I was
badges
just about to
made.
pull it out there. So we do special.
Show them.
Well,
If you want a
kinda
Christmas
reached that
gift, get in touch.
far. Aye, exactly.
Have a little look at this. This is a touch of class. Little Geordie Journals pin badges. You've got a few to give away, haven't you?
Yeah.
Tell you what, maybe we could do something like that if you fancy a Geordie
Like,
Journals.
share.
Although it'll probably end up costing us a fortune
It
in
will, aye, yeah.
fortune in post outs. Unless you just, if you bump into it, ask for a pin badge and we might give you one. If you'd really be interested in wearing one. Right, you know the drill. Like, comment, share, subscribe. We absolutely love doing this content. We also have other jobs on top of it as well. Shields Gazette, Newcastle World, and I'm editor for both. So we do have other jobs. Do check out the websites and all the content that goes with it on those forums. Give these guys a follow on their social media as well, because they're always posting things throughout the day. And yeah, you know what to do. There's that little bell if you look below this video, and if you click that, you can decide whether to have videos, our videos, whether that be live, short, whatever, little notifications to come through to your device that you watch this from. And yeah, we'll keep the content coming. Geordie Journals never rest. There'll be a video definitely on Monday. We'll definitely have some probably posting pre-match stuff from Stamford Bridge, which feels like such a big night for Newcastle United going down there. But we'll preview more of that from the press conference on Monday. So right, on this, my two esteemed gentlemen on my right hand side and left hand side, I've got anything else to add to this video, then I think that's probably over and out from the Geordie Journals.
Yeah, it's been a bit of chaos, hasn't it, this video?
Crazy.
Bit of spider action.
Yeah.
We'll see you later, we'll end it.
Right, like, comment, share, subscribe for all your Geordie Journals content.